Good morning, Sault Ste. Marie and Algoma. Welcome to Special Report Morning Edition, brought to you by Casey's Securities. I'm joined today with my co-host, Daniel Laprade, who is also the owner of Casey's Securities. This is his last day hosting. Tomorrow, he will move to being weather.
That's right.
And I will have another co-host tomorrow. And we'll leave that up for... you'll have to come back to find out that tomorrow. We're not going to tell you now.
That's right. We gotta keep
little suspense. What do they call in a movie when they tease something out? Foreshadowing.
Yeah. You know,
a little foreshadowing
have
there.
the dramatic music, you know.
Yeah.
Depending on who it is.
We'll make it sound like an Alfred Hitchcock movie or something. You know, make it, tease it out a little. Okay, so, weather, freezing. This is supposed to be summer. Yesterday I went for a walk at Bellevue Park. Very nice park normally.
Right.
Saw almost no one because of the weather. Yeah. So I got a little video to show of the wonderful summer weather. Yes, there it is. That is me walking at the park yesterday with my hood up on my, there we go. As you can see, I'm having a good time there.
Yeah.
Beautiful summer weather, as you can tell, really working on my tan. So, what happened?
Get the sunscreen out.
Yeah, I had to use the SPF 45 for yesterday. The sun.
Yeah.
Are things going to look any different in the near future?
Well, they are.
Like, will I have to wear a full-on hood today if I go for a walk? Or
no.
Today's a hood down day.
You should look forward to that. I don't know if you want to break out the flip-flops and the shorts. You know, it's not going to be like, you know, super hot, but it's going to be it's going to be warm. So
I actually had to put the heat on in my apartment last night.
I was going to ask you that because I fought everything not to put on. It was 66 this morning in my house.
Yeah, I had to put the heat on last night. And it was freezing.
Yeah. So and then you get in the shower, it's like I just don't want to get out of here now because it's too warm. So.
Yeah, and we put our winter bedspread back on the bed last night.
Right.
It was so cold. It was like,
well,
what is going on here?
It's up and down, but like, hey, at least your car.
It's like the gas prices.
Yes.
Yeah. One minute it's 99 cents, the next minute's 109.
Yeah. At least your car sensor didn't come on.
Yeah. Not yet, anyways.
All right.
Hopefully.
So we're gonna have a live view of.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll get right into the weather here now. So it's currently 13 degrees out there. It is sunny. There's a couple clouds, but not too bad. And so today it's going to be clearing up this morning. Wind's going to be coming northwest 20 kilometers, gusting to 40. So it is still breezy. So if you are out, you still might need that hood and that windbreaker.
Yeah, so it might not be a hood down day today?
No, it might not be. So a high of 22, UV index of 8 or very high. So you do need that sunscreen, even though it may not be as warm as it feels. Tonight, a few clouds. The winds are going to still be gusting to about 40, and then they'll be coming light into the evening and a low of 9 degrees. So again, it is still going to be cool tonight.
Low of 9, wow.
Yeah, so we're not out of the woods with that yet. Friday, it's going to be a high of 26 with a humidex of 28 degrees, mainly sunny, but then we get the increasing cloudiness late in the afternoon. And there's a potential for rain overnight, some showers, 60% in our forecast area Friday night with a low of 15. So do know that we probably are going to get some more. And then Saturday, we get into a mix of sun and cloud with a 60% chance of showers, a high of 25 degrees, and then the low of 14 overnight and clear. And it's going to be a sneak peek for the long range. Again, very hot and humid next week. 30 degrees and high humidity and lots of sun. Right in time for Canada Day. So.
Yeah, and the weather person told me that last week, and then we got this week. So
yeah, hey, I was.
Is this like a tease?
On my first day on Monday, I was right about the rain.
You were right for like 60 straight hours because it didn't stop raining.
That's not bad.
Yeah, that's a good start considering whether people are correct. 31% of the time, it's the only job you can do at less than 50%, not get fired.
And we do have Craig, who's the wonderful weather.
Yes.
He's got the experience.
He's the historic weather person in this town.
Absolutely. So I'm getting guidance by the best.
Yes.
So we're getting a live look now of downtown.
Yeah, look at that.
At City Hall, it's a beautiful, beautiful morning down there.
There's no water drips on the camera. That's a nice thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a good day. So again, if you are out, walking around or going for a bike ride or
yeah, you can even see the renovated City Hall there. Oh no, sorry, it's still in the renovation. Sorry.
Can't even recognize it now.
Yeah, that must be a really old picture because the City Hall renovation was supposed to be done back in 2019.
Like most things.
I don't think that's a live pic because that renovation of City Hall is not done.
No.
What's going on there?
No, it's what is it, 2 years behind now?
Yeah, only.
Yeah.
You know, something like that.
That's about right.
They're only changing a couple windows, that's it. So, you know.
Yeah.
Good times, good times. Okay, speaking of institutions in this town, Superior Hospital had their annual general meeting back on the 22nd, and they have released some information about that. The public couldn't go this year. Also, none of the awards happened either.
Right.
And the agenda was very brief, to basically only the essential business of what they have to tell the public based on the past year. More in-depth stuff they'll have coming later on when they can actually, actually spend some time in the same room and not be worried about spreading COVID-19 around. Especially, you don't want to spread it around the hospital because that's the worst place to actually spread it around.
Oh, well, exactly. So like everything virtual, right?
Yeah. So what are some of the highlights?
So they've posted a $700,000 surplus for the last year, and so what they're still doing they're focusing on physician recruitment. That continues to be the main thing that they're doing. They have over 300 physicians that they've credentialed. Their patient and family advisory program remains strong, and they've increased the number of advisors, growing over to 80 members. They have 530 volunteers. So these are some things that they're still doing well in that sense. Like, it's good to have a good volunteer base too. Yeah. You do need that, right?
Be interesting to see what happens when the hospital starts to open back up more, because a lot of the volunteers are older and they do it when they're retired. And it'll be interesting to see if most of them are going to be willing to go back to work in a hospital for the foreseeable future anyways.
Yeah.
So.
And then there's also a highlight here. Significant improvements were made in the mental health and addictions program, including increasing the number of rapid access to addiction medicine sites, and a new service of nurse-supported withdrawal management was introduced.
Yes,
so it's very important
to deal with the opioid crisis.
Yeah, which is obviously an issue that is still very important across this country right now.
Yeah, I did a study for the Ontario government about a decade ago, and it was an opioid addiction, so people got addicted to specifically pharmaceutical opioids, not heroin, and it was a methadone study, and there was a nurse, and they had safe injection sites, and then there was also counseling and stuff like that. Yeah. So it's good to see that things like this are starting to come up to the Sioux as well.
Yes.
Because they are actually in Southern Ontario. There's 5 or 6 sites now that you have as safe injection sites.
Yeah.
And actually, as a weird coincidence, my uncle actually is the one who builds those sites.
Oh, okay. And I lived out in BC for many years in Victoria.
They have a bunch of safe.
We're very used to that. Those sites as well, because they'd been around a lot sooner than many parts of the country. So.
Yeah, BC was really a leader on the safe injection sites in Canada. It was also a huge problem with them, both pharmaceutically and also heroin as well.
Yes,
heroin use was very, very high in BC, particularly in the Vancouver area in the East End.
Yeah,
as you probably know.
Yes, I mean, I was in Victoria, but it's still, it's so close, right? You hear about it, and certain parts of Victoria had the same problem. So.
Yeah, well, it's good that they're actually addressing this now. It is such a serious issue, and actually, the study I did, everybody in it got addicted to OxyContin from breaking a limb. They broke a limb, whether it was a snowmobile accident, motorbike accident, car accident, and they were given OxyContin as a painkiller. They used it for several months, got addicted, and then their lives just spiraled out of control.
Yeah, once they're addicted to it, then yes.
Yeah, it's a horrible addiction. And even the safe injection site thing that I was involved in, outside there was dealers selling OxyContin pills trying to get them to buy. So, anyways, we'll be back in 2 minutes with more local news. Hold tight.
What's life without making a few mistakes down the road? A few sharp turns. And doing things for what we adore, but might regret later. A trip to Chuck's Roadhouse isn't one of them. With melt-in-your-mouth AAA steaks, buttery lobster tail, half-priced apps after 9 p.m., an ice-cold draft with all your Roadhouse favorites. Chuck's Roadhouse. Food the way it ought to be, priced the way it used to.
A message from the Government of Canada.
In your home, lighting is just as important as style.
With PowerView Motorization from Hunter Douglas, you can schedule your shades to light up the room. Create privacy, or both, automatically. No hands required.
So your shades will always be in the right place at the right time in style. And it's only from Hunter Douglas.
And welcome back to Special Report. I'm joined today by Daniel Laprade, the owner of KC Security, who is also our title sponsor. So thank you very much for being a sponsor.
No problem.
Alrighty, Facebook shoutout times. Okay, hi to Tammy Lynn, Juliana. Also hi to Lynn. Daniel, thank you for liking the video. And myself. So thank you very much for that. Okay, so when you're watching us, if you want to interact with us live when we're actually on the air, you can do so you go to our Facebook page, click on the live video, and then a comment section comes up. And if you want to say hi, if you've got a birthday or anything like that, let us know. If you have a picture of someone with a birthday, let us know, and we can actually put that up live on the air as well. Also, on there, we can, if you have any questions about a story we do, and you pop it in there, we might be able to actually answer it on air for you as well. Absolutely. Speaking of stories, okay, this one is a little unbelievable, but true. Okay, Alberta Premier Jason Kenney, his new speechwriter, once wrote an article, and when I say once, I mean recently, that the Canadian residential school system, which Indigenous people were in, was a bogus genocide story, and he said Indigenous youth could be ripe recruits for violent insurgencies. Now, this article was in 2013. Prior to 2013, this individual was also a speechwriter for Stephen Harper for 3 years. And now he is Jason Kenney's speechwriter, exactly.
Right.
And his article basically questioned the unchallenged view of residential schools in Canada on whether or not they were as really bad as they actually were.
Yeah.
I guess he kind of forgot about the part of where we had an inquiry that started in 2007, finished in 2015, that talked about the 150,000 Indigenous people who were taken away from their families and put into residential schools. And apparently he thinks that's bogus. And one of the chiefs, Willie Littlechild, actually made a comment about this. He said, I really wish you'd walked in my shoes for 14 years. I think you would have a totally different story. Littlechild was actually called Number 65. So they called him Number 65, they called him You Idiot 65, and Stupid 65. That was his name in the residential school. So Paul Brun, who wrote that article, obviously doesn't know anything about what happened in those residential schools. You might want to read the report on that, because quite frankly, I don't know how to say this any other way. This is complete ignorance by this speechwriter. And I don't know why Kenny picked them. I'm speechless. Like, how has this even happened? He didn't hide the article. The article was
No, another gaffe for Kenny in that matter.
Yeah,
too,
and he's been here since last spring. He's been Kenny's speechwriter for over a year.
Yeah,
and he's still Kenny's speechwriter. I don't get it. Conservatives, I don't know what's going on in conservative parties, both at the provincial and federal level. But everything they're doing is a misstep. I mean, they need to hire some really good communications people and some really good HR people that do background checks, because this was not difficult to find out.
And Kenny is unlike a lot of the other conservative premiers right now that are enjoying a bump in the ratings. He's actually struggling, right? He has done a lot of damage during the pandemic. He cut back right in the middle of it. He's going to war with the doctors. He's doing a lot of things over there, so he's not really helping himself out.
No, and he's ripping funding from the University of Alberta to the point that the University of Alberta is losing $45 million a year for 4 years in funding.
Yeah.
So they're going to end up and actually it goes up. 45 million is the first year, then it goes to like 50, and then it's like 55 and 60. It works out to about $212 million by 2022 less that the University of Alberta will actually have for funding.
Lots
to
of
actually,
cuts.
And those are all Kenny's cuts. And it's unbelievable what's going on in Alberta right now. And yet he gave a $4.7 billion tax cut to oil and gas companies.
Yep.
But he can't spend $212 million on educating the next generation to get them good middle class jobs that will pay taxes. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Anyways, we got to go to a commercial break. We will be back in 2 minutes. Hold tight, and we are coming back with Choice Trails.
Recently, the Government of Ontario established a $100 million affordability fund to help Ontarians who don't qualify for low-income conservation programs ease the burden of their electricity bill. Whether you rent or own your home, as long as you pay your electric bill, you could qualify. There are 3 levels of support available. The first is a home energy kit with upgrades like smart power bars and LED light bulbs. The second includes Energy Star appliances that help keep things cool during the hot summer months. The third is for electrically heated homes so that your power bills don't break the bank during those long Canadian winters. Plus, all upgrades, including installation, are completely free of charge. Visit affordabilityfund.org or call 1-855-494-FUND to find out if you qualify.
And welcome back to Special Report, Morning Edition. We'll also be back at 1 p.m. today with Doug Ford. Today's press conference, there'll be obviously Premier Doug Ford, Christine Elliott, who's the Deputy Premier and Minister of Health, will be there, and Jill Dunlop, who is the Associate Minister of Children and Women's Issues, will be there to make an announcement. So we will have that for you live today at 1 p.m. So please come back and join us then. I'd like to thank KC Securities for being the sponsor of Special Report. Alrighty, so let's talk fundraising.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So there was the 9th annual Troy's Trail Walk for hydrocephalus and spina bifida changed this year for bifida changed this year from COVID-19, and the walk went completely virtual. So Troy's Trail organizer Troy and Annette were overjoyed by the amount of support from the community this year, and they were collectively able to fundraise $2,600.
And they were only aiming for what, 1,000, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Danny
totally
was saying
blew that
1,000.
number they were going for right of them.
So we're going to show a video here for more of what they had to say with Danny Dupuis.
Yeah, it gave us another outlet to connect with people doing it this way. So, more people were able to participate.
Yeah, especially from out of town.
Yeah.
Like we had people from out of town, like people from Windsor, from Ottawa.
Calgary.
We had a Calgary, a new girl from North Bay joined our group. She was so happy to find a group with support, and it's been amazing. So she embraced it. That's why we do it. So it worked again. So
yeah, the awareness obviously reached a lot of people. That was what our goal for this year was, more on the awareness, and we did both.
We were going to have everybody post stuff throughout the month, but we wanted it to be on that one day again. So once everything was done leading up to the day was just like sitting and watching everything roll in. So it was actually a lot of fun to see the stuff coming in and the different people that were participating
and people participated in different ways. Like we've had some different videos from people, and they were really creative with some of them, and the pictures that came in, and we had one that from our group that actually told her story, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it was just, and everybody that we saw that followed and commented, and it turned out well. And then, like, again, we made it fun. We tried to make it fun for everyone. Got the kids involved. We had a prize wheel. We had some prizes that we gave away later in that day, and it just turned out to be fun all the way around.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. And that was for Troy's Trails. They raised $2,600, so that's awesome. They were actually just going for $1,000, so they really blew through what their goal was. It was nice to see people partaking in different cities across Canada help out.
We were both going to say it at the same time, so you go ahead.
Alrighty, let's talk baseball.
Yeah, so let's get into the MLB. So, of course, they're used to licking hands, spitting, and showering, obviously, after
tobacco
games.
chewing.
Yep.
Sunflower seeds. Basically, any way that you could possibly spread COVID-19, Major League Baseball players do.
And they're not going to be allowed to do that.
They're not even letting them shower.
Exactly. I don't know how that's sanitary, but
apparently they're not allowed to shower until they go back to their hotel room.
That's right. And they can't, like I said, no spitting, no licking hands.
Can't go to restaurants.
There's a lot of changes, so the players are instructed to report to their team's home ballpark by July 1st with spring training to commence July 3rd, but please don't show up all at once. And then all players must undergo an immediate temperature check and 2 COVID-19 tests, a diagnostic PCR test, and a blood-drawn antibody test. And then they have to quarantine for 24 to 48 hours and await the results. So it's not going to be an easy process.
No, and a bunch of the Blue Jays actually just tested positive, and their staff down in Dunedin, Florida. So they are actually going to be doing their training camp up here. Right now they're trying to get the federal government to give an exception so they can play their games here. Because right now if they go to the States, they don't have to quarantine for 14 days. However, anyone who comes to Canada, including sports teams, has to take that 14-day quarantine. Now the NHL got around it and got a special exemption with the federal government. Major League Baseball has applied for that same exception, so they'll probably get it.
Right.
But it is concerning. And even when you watch a game, it'll look much different. You're going to see players actually sitting in the stands so that they can socially distance apart. Locker rooms are going to be way different because each locker has to be 6 feet apart. There's no showering. They can't shake hands. If you start a brawl,
Not in baseball too often.
It doesn't happen too often, but actually a brawl, you get kicked out for a third of the season, plus a big fine.
Wow.
And depending on what happens, it could even be longer. That's the minimum, is a third of the season, which is 60 games, so a third would be 20 games.
That's 20 games right there. And you think there's fighting in hockey, like, what are you going to do with that, right?
Yeah, and it's amazing. And then we've got Disney World and Disneyland. Both have had delayed openings. Disneyland is now delayed even further because California has had a big, massive breakout in the last few days. So they're not even getting guidance until July the 4th on what they could possibly do to reopen. Disney World in Orlando has been trying to reopen. The original plan was back in early June. They're still not open now because of the massive outbreak that's happened in Florida. They're trying to open.
They're hoping for July 11th.
So we'll see.
And it's going to look very different. It's you're going to have the masks and stuff, and there's going to be, you won't be able to do everything that you can do on a normal visit there. And Disneyland is going to be July 17th at the earliest. And that could be pushed back.
And that could be pushed back too. So the happiest places on earth are presently not very happy. Because they cannot operate. Now the good news is they have all the agreements with most of the unions to reopen safely. It's just a matter of going through what the government needs them to do to reopen. But their workers are ready to go back once the government says it's safe to. So
absolutely.
And those are decisions made at the state level. Okay, so firefighting in Canada. there was a donate. We just put $5 million towards a new wildlife research network. This has to do with firefighting. We spend, how much do you think we spend each year fighting forest fires in Canada?
Not even sure how to ballpark that.
Between 500 million and 1 billion a year we spend on fire management in this country.
Wow.
That number has been going up, obviously because of climate change. The Natural Resource Minister O'Regan made this announcement obviously virtually, but basically the warnings from scientists are pretty straightforward. There's going to be an increase in fires due to the fact that we have a climate that's warming, and even a slight degree higher results in more forest fires because things catch on fire just a little bit warmer. That's why we see these fire bans.
And the fire bans were obviously started earlier this year to allow less resources to be tied up, with everything going on. And but we're already into forest fire season in our region here, a lot of places, and we've seen some bad years over the last few years. And in provinces like Alberta and British Columbia. I lived out in BC, and once again, they've had some very, very bad forest fire seasons there. They get very hot, dry summers. So it's. Yeah, lots of rain helps in that sense, but
which was lucky the last few days. We had a ton of it.
That helps, right? If things are very dry, and then then the risk goes down, they can have fires again, right? So.
Yeah, and the Democratic National Convention, or the Democrats in the states, are actually doing something different than Republicans. Republicans are still going forward with their big, large convention. They had to move it from North Carolina to Jacksonville, Florida, because North Carolina in Charlotte could not guaranteed that there would not be a 6 feet social distancing rule no longer in effect. Jacksonville said, everybody can come down here and sit right next to each other. So the Republicans moved their convention to Jacksonville, Florida. The Democrats, however, are doing a much, much smaller convention in Milwaukee, where Joe Biden will be there to accept a nomination. However, the state delegates will be staying in their own state and having much smaller satellite conventions, you would call them, and all of the social aspects of the convention are gone. It's just more like we're voting for this, we're voting for that, and it's going to be very similar to like the Superior Hospital annual general meeting. The agenda is going to be very brief. They're going to make sure that social interaction is minimal. Everybody can stay six feet apart. That's right. Unlike the Republicans, who are doing the exact opposite. Now, Biden's campaign manager said Vice President Biden intends to proudly accept his party's nomination in Milwaukee and take the next step forward towards making Donald Trump a one-term president. The city of Milwaukee has been an incredible partner, and we are committed to highlighting Wisconsin as a key battleground state at our convention this August. This week, we've also been asking you to donate to the Alzheimer's Society if you can. Their giving is way down. It was down 82% in May. Please help them out if you can. Go to their website to get more info on how you can donate. I'll see you back here at 1 p.m. with Doug Ford. Have a great morning. Thank you, Dan, for co-hosting with me this week.
You're welcome. Take care.